So today I was thinking and want to talk to you about this concept that I think it's really hard for a lot of us entrepreneurs, especially when we start our own company. We build it from scratch. So this concept of being both the CEO of our company and also the founder and entrepreneur of our company. So in today's video, I want to dive in a little bit more about that. And if we haven't met before, hi, my name is Adam Keeler. I own a small business here in North Dallas. And over the past few years, I've been trying to figure out how to make it run a lot more smoothly without me so that I could do the things that I love to do in the business instead of feeling stressed out and feeling like no matter how many employees I hire, it just feels like I have more and more on my plate. And it wasn't until recently that I was able to figure a few things out, implement a few key things that changed everything. And so now I have been able to step out of my business and just work about 4 hours a day on the things that I love to do in my business. My hope is that with this YouTube channel, I'll be able to help you achieve the same thing. In today's video, I want to talk about that concept, and I think a lot of us, including myself, we often feel like because we're the founder and owner and CEO and all of that of our business, that that's what our role is. That's the title, that's everything encompassing in that. And especially since it's a small business, we often have to wear a lot of hats. So I was fortunate enough sometime about 2 years ago to realize that I didn't want to be the one wearing all the hats in my business, and then I wanted to step out of my business and have it run on its own. But one of the problems that I kept running into is everybody that I would hire. So for instance, the first person I hired was somebody to do the installation work for me, or the labor work. And then I hired 2 more labor workers. And so now I have 3. And so I was the sales guy, I was the CEO, manager, entrepreneur, everything. And then the next person I hired was an office person. And then the next one I hired was the sales. And the next person I hired was the sales guy. And so I kept stepping out of my business and kind of, I guess what I'm trying to say is I started my business thinking that I was doing something that I really enjoyed and I loved doing. I really love sales. I love doing the labor part. I found out later that even though I went to school for healthcare administration, I really don't like managing business or processes or people very much. I can do it, but I don't really enjoy it that much. And so, and I definitely don't enjoy the admin side of a business. And so when I started my business and I was doing sales and the labor part, it was awesome. But the bigger I got and then the more people I had to hire, I ended up pushing myself back into this corner of an area that I really didn't want to be in. I was the CEO and manager of the company. I also was all of admin because I now had people doing all the labor part, and I had someone doing the sales and someone ordering the product and making sure the inventory was good, but everything else went onto my shoulders, and I just felt like that's what I was supposed to be doing. And I think a lot of you guys are in the same situation where we get ourselves out of the things we enjoy while we're trying to build this business bigger and bigger and get stuck doing things that we don't enjoy. So back to the CEO and manager and the entrepreneur. So just to describe those things a little bit more. So the CEO and manager of the company, that's the person who gets the reports. That's the person who maintains all the systems and SOPs. That's the person who makes sure that the business can carry on year after year after year. The entrepreneur of a business is the person that has vision. They're the ones that usually try different things, spend a little money to figure this thing out, and maybe try to get into a different service area or add another product or whatever it is. They're the ones that push the business forward. And you have to have both. But if you're an owner of a small business and you're doing both, then this is the right video for you. So I'm not saying that you can't be both. I'm just saying that it makes things way harder, because how can you try to look at the vision of the company and where it's going to go in 5 years and figure out different ways that you want to really push the business, spend more money, and take risks, but then you're also the CEO and manager, managing the day-to-day stuff in your business, managing to make sure that the money and cash flow is on point, managing people's hours, getting all these reports. It's really hard, especially for the mental space, to be able to do both those things. I know I ran into that a lot because I'm more of the entrepreneur rather than the manager and CEO. And so whenever I would focus on one, let's say the entrepreneur part, my business would start falling apart because I didn't have someone to manage that. We already had employees, we had systems and SOPs and all this and reports, but I really didn't finalize my business to be able to do this, where I'm the one that's an entrepreneur doing the things that I'm really good at, and my business can run on its own and be managed on its own. So most of the time, since we are small business owners, we don't have a lot of extra cash to then just hire a manager. And if you don't have systems and SOPs and your business is not mapped out very well, hiring a manager will not fix anything because managers are there to manage what is there. And so if you have a broken system, broken SOPs, or broken business structure, then your manager will manage a broken system. They won't be able to fix it. They can improve things, but they won't be able to fix it or build it. So I spent the last 2 years building the business so that a manager, which right now I have a management team, which consists of my sales guy, my operations guy, and my office person. So that's my management team. So they're the ones that manage the business. So one of the other points that I want to make sure that I hit home is there is at one point where I got completely burnt out. Now, I've been burnt out before, and then I had a nice vacation, came back, and everything was fine. But this burnout, I was stuck in it. It took me months. Actually, it probably took me about 1.5 years to get over that feeling of being burnt out. And I watched all these videos about being burnt out, and the thing that I realized after watching all those videos was that burnout comes from doing the things that you don't want to do for a long period of time without a great benefit or something that like outweighs the pain and discomfort of going through that process. And so a lot of times us as owners, when we're wearing all these hats and when we finally get to the point where we're the entrepreneur and the manager and CEO, and we're both, a lot of times, if you're like me as the entrepreneur, I get bogged down with being the manager. And if I focus too heavily on that because I feel like that's where I'm supposed to be, it sinks my soul. And then all of a sudden, the benefit does not outweigh the pain. And then I get burnt out because I can't see a way out of it. I can't see a way past it because I'll be managing forever. And sometimes it's so unconscious thinking that we don't even realize it's happening, but we'll feel stuck because we don't see a way through it. And so that's why this is so important, to figure out which one you are and then to pick one of them and to focus on building your business to do the opposite. I'm just saying in this video, like I did, build your business to be managed on its own, run on its own so that you can be the entrepreneur. Now, I'm not saying you can't do anything else because I also coach and I also do a little bit of the CEO work where I get reports from my team, but I'm not the one managing my business. So the thing I want you to ask yourself is, which one of the two roles do you more align yourself with? If it is the entrepreneur, then think about building your business so that it can be managed and have it managed on its own. Don't try to have both roles. If anything, the point of this video is if you're in both roles, then your business is going to struggle. Both things not done as well as if you just focused on one thing, and especially the thing that you were good at. Hopefully this video was helpful, and if you want to learn more about how I built my business to be able to do that, where it runs on its own and is managed on its own, so I don't have to manage it and I can just get the reports from the business and I can focus on being the entrepreneur, then I highly suggest watching this video. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.